And then my planning engine. Those of us that have lived in the dynamics world, we know that we have a very, very sophisticated MRP engine that does a lot of math really, really fast. But there are issues with it. First of all, people are doing a lot more stuff in MRP than they used to do. When I first started working in this field more years ago than I care to think about, a big factory had maybe 2,000 or 3,000 parts. A big factory may run MRP for 3-4 hours a day. And that was like fine because nobody worked 7x24 back in when Noah was a baby and I started doing this stuff. But the world has changed. 7x24 is no longer the exception, it's the rule. Most companies that I work with are doing 2 shifts, 3 shifts. And your traditional classic, what we're now calling the classic MRP engine inside of D365, operated on the premise that you would receive an order and then tonight MRP is going to run, MRP runs, and then I get a plan and then I go buy or make stuff based on the demand, right? And that was fine. I could wait until tomorrow. It really wasn't a hassle. If I really was going to get frisky, well, then maybe I could run MRP on an item because it's a rush order and we need to jump on it like today. But for most production companies up until fairly recently, with a few little mods here and there and a few little flexes and yep, I can run MRP on an item, that was fine. But the modern world, our business networked world that I talked about at the beginning of this presentation, the 7x24 environment, COVID has changed the way businesses need to operate. That MRP running at night is no longer seen as being wonderful compared to 1983 when we used to run MRP once a week and thought we were living on the edge of the edge of the earth. So now D365 is rolling out the planning optimization engine, which is a long-term replacement to the classic MRP engine. And the notion is that we're going to receive an order and then the planning run will be triggered by the order. And then here I can follow up on the plan. So this long chunk of time goes out the window. So from order to actioning it and the explosion, that window has shrunk down dramatically. So some of the case studies they were doing on the classic versus the planning optimization, some of runtime went from 1,620 to 43 minutes for the first 7 customers. So these are customers that have tens upon tens of thousands of parts, bills and materials that are not 1 or 2 levels deep, that are levels and levels and layers of levels down. Those of you that are currently on D365, you may already be getting messages advising you that the classic engine is being decremented and you can switch over. The functionality is rolling out. It will be fully released by April 2022. But at this moment in time, if you are a distribution-only entity, you can switch over to the planning optimization engine. It's been a huge rewrite and redevelopment around MRP, and it's getting us closer to that real-time online MRP engine that is truly the unicorn of planning and planning optimization. There are some very good white papers on this out on the Microsoft website. I would suggest you go and have a look at those. Those of you that are on D365, there are some analysis kits that you can have a look, and it will go and tell you if you can switch over to the new optimization tool now. But that gets you very, very close to the world of, if it's in the system, it becomes actionable. So the technology platform inside of D365 is constantly moving ahead, and we're seeing more and more resources, code, infrastructure, functionality coming into the system to better support shop floor reporting, shop floor analysis, both on the loading side. If you look at the new engineering change management module, that's a life changer for a lot of people, all the way through to the cost accounting module as opposed to cost management. We now have different layers of cost structuring and reporting. So that from soup to nuts, from the loading, from the bills, resources, routes, etc., through production, with my handhelds, with my terminals, with my ability to connect into devices, and then going on the back end of production in terms of analysis and design for the next iteration of a product.